Hello, and welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for June of 2023. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California.
Let's take a look at what's happening in June. Happy birthday, Cancer. If you haven't scheduled your birthday reading yet, there's still time to do it before your birthday, which is the most powerful time to do it if you can. This lets you ritualize your personal New Year's moment and jump into your year empowered to make it the best one ever. It also comes with fantastic affirmations you can use all year to create your best life. You'll find a link for it in the description below. Well, we're going to start with Pluto, which dipped into Aquarius briefly and then retrogrades back into Capricorn as of June 11th. And I talked about Pluto in Aquarius in last month's horoscope, so I'm not going to belabor it, but I am going to say that when Pluto moves into Aquarius for real, which is going to happen in January, that Pluto is going to put you into a decade at least of traveling through your 8th house, which is his home territory. And it could really involve some depth psychology for you. It might take you into some pretty deep territory for some pretty transformative experiences. However, right now, Pluto is retrograde, and as of June 11th, it retrogrades back into your 7th house and is going to be finishing up your 7th house as the year comes to a close. So Pluto brings transformation and metamorphosis wherever he goes, death and rebirth experiences. And he's been traveling through your 7th house for some time, more than a decade. And so this means that your relationships have been an occasion for transformation. You may have had some of the most intense relationships of your life in the last decade that caused the most profound changes within you. You may have had friends that you got really, really close to, or partners that you became very intimate with. There may have been people that you have trusted with absolutely everything, and then had it all crash and burn, and discovered that all or nothing trusting is not always the way to go. So hopefully these experiences having transformed you, you are less of the caterpillar and more of the butterfly at this point, and have learned some profound things about relationship and how to be intimate with another person without falling off into those power and control and manipulation games. So Pluto might lob a little extra, learning at you before he leaves this house. And I just thought you should know. The next thing I want to tell you about is that Saturn, which is traveling along through Pisces in your 9th house, goes retrograde as of June 17th. And here we see that little red RX symbol that means that Saturn is retrograde. Saturn brings the lessons of hard work and effort and discipline. So wherever Saturn goes, you've got to apply yourself in order to really get what you need to get out of that area. And you might feel limited and constricted in that area as long as Saturn is there. Now, this is a house of growth and expansion. It's a pretty philosophical and optimistic house. It can also be a house of your religious experience. When Saturn enters into the 9th house, you could find, for example, that you're feeling restricted by your church or your religion, and that you're wanting to grow beyond it, that you're feeling like kind of trapped, or like there's a lot of structure. You might feel burdened, or even as if it's some source of discipline in your life and that there's pressure there. So I'd say you have two choices. You can find ways to grow and beyond that structure that you've been presented with. make a bid for freedom, or you can bow to the structure that is there, undertake the discipline, and form a deeper bond with your religion, your faith, your spiritual life. This could also easily apply to a higher education, because that's another ninth house thing. And Saturn will probably be traveling through your ninth house for about 2.5 years, long enough to get quite a bit done in a course of study. And if you do undertake a course of study or are in one while Saturn's passing through the ninth house, you'll probably feel somewhat burdened and as if you need to work really hard and really marshal your energy and your attention very strongly to get through the program, which might be extremely rigorous. And Saturn is your guy for pushing you through something like that. And if you come out the other side with a higher degree that's really valuable in the marketplace, well, that's a good thing. I want to talk about Juno now. Juno begins the month traveling along through the sign of Gemini. And I talked about this last month, so I won't say too much more about it, except to hint that while Juno continues to be in your 12th house, that you might feel a little bit retiring about your relationship. If you're in a long-term committed relationship, whether that's with a spouse or whether that is a business partnership, either way, you might feel like you kind of want to be on retreat and a little bit withdrawn. Now, this can be a great time for spiritual contemplation or retreat or withdrawal with your partner, and it can deepen the bond. But it might also just be a time in which you're just feeling like you want to pull away from your social life and be more on your own, and think a little bit more deeply about how you want your relationships to go when you're ready to engage again. But Juno quickly moves on into your first house right here as of June 22nd. And this really does amp up your social life. This is where you kind of appear on the horizon as somebody who's ready to engage. And so hanging with friends and being an active member of your partnership is a great thing to do here. And because Juno is in Cancer, you might find that a lot of this is also tied to your domestic life. And if you are married, let's say, or in a long-term relationship or co-parents with somebody, then this passage of Juno through Cancer can be a wonderful time for you to participate in that partnership and come to some wonderful agreements about how you do things together in that shared domestic life or parenting. Juno's going to stay in Cancer through mid-August, so I'll probably mention it again at least a little bit next month. Ceres starts the month in Virgo, and here she is finishing out your third house. And I've said this, I've mentioned this quite a few times in the last couple of months because Ceres has just gone direct. She was retrograde for much of the time from February to May, and that is all resolving now and completing now. It was a financial rebalancing period, which was probably pretty difficult on many of us. And in your case, it's really caused a lot of rethinking about how you organize your finances in the first place. And some of that thinking may have been a little bit too abstract and has needed to be grounded in reality. But things are getting sorted out now, and that's good. And at this point, Ceres moves on over into Libra and your fourth house right here around June 21st. And this is where Ceres began its retrograde journey. So she's happy to return here and to finish out your fourth house as the month goes on and into next month as well. Ceres, I think that Ceres really likes to be in the fourth house. She has to do with such practical matters: food, body, money, things connected to the physical world. And the fourth house is the domain of home and family. And so what could be better than the domestic environment for, setting up a nice balanced health routine where you get up in the morning and you drink a glass of water and then you do a couple of yoga stretches and then you make your coffee or tea. This could be a really great transit for setting up such a nice, balanced, beautiful home life where you can set up some very great sustainable habits for your body in terms of how you take care of yourself and how you feed yourself too. Hey, Julia, what's up with the 3 inner planets for the Cancers of the world this month?
Well, the first big news is that Mercury, again, is moving very fast. It was retrograde last month, moving slowly last month, but now he's speeding through the zodiac, and he starts this month in your 11th house. He's there for the first third of the month, and wherever we have Mercury is where our mind is and where more communication in our life takes place. So in your 11th house of friends and long-term goals, you could be thinking about and dreaming and being very idealistic about your long-term goals in life, the dreams that take some time to realize. This could also be a time where you're getting a lot more text, emails, phone calls from the friends or any groups you're a part of too, which are all ruled by the 11th. Then by June 11th, Mercury dips into the 12th house for about 15 days, so kind of middle of the month. The 12th house is a much more mysterious and inward and introspective place for Mercury to be in. So you might be less inclined to share your ideas with other people. This would be a great transit for getting a lot of writing done on your own. If you need to catch up on anything, like if you're in school, don't go to the computer lab to write around a lot of people. Just won't work out as easily. Go into your room, see if you can shut a door, or get into the park where you could just be far away from other people and you can get your best writing done there. And interestingly, on June 26 is when Mercury June 26, Mercury moves into your first house. He's all over the place this month. And then you're going to be a lot more willing to share your ideas with other people by the end of the month. After doing that journey inward in a mid-month, you're going to be much more articulate, much more well-spoken. And then by the very end of the month, it's a very special day because Mercury will be exactly conjoined the sun. We call that Greater Epiphany Day because Mercury is direct while doing this versus retrograde. That happened last month with Lesser Epiphany Day. And any Epiphany Day, basically when Mercury is conjoined the sun, is a time of insight and revelation. And since this is happening in the first house of self, you could have some insights into how you personally impact other people. Also insights into how you can articulate yourself better about something as well too. And then we're going to talk about Venus and Mars, and they're both going to be hanging out in your second house of money this month. So big focus for money in your life this month, Cancer. Venus is going to begin in the first house for the first 5 days of the month. So with Venus going in the first, lovely time of the month to reach out and have yourself be available for dating, because Venus in the first means you're going to be coming across extra good looking. Then by the 5th, Venus enters the second and Mars will be in the second for the rest of the month. So second house, it's not just money, your personal paycheck, what you earn. It's also the house of your stuff. So, your clothes, your collectibles, your jewelry, all of the things that you hold near and dear, the material sphere of your life. It's also your values too. So with both Venus and Mars in the second house, this is a very dynamic time for money making. This is a good time where you're going to be feeling very driven, and you also might feel a little extra lucky at attracting things to you. Really get down in there about like, how can you earn more money? How can you be more on top of your money? And if you need to do any sort of, maybe buying and selling of things, this could be definitely a good month for acquiring new possessions that give you a lot of joy with Venus in the second. But Mars is in there too, so make sure you get a good return policy. Don't do it too impatiently. Think about what you want to buy, walk away from it for a day, and then come back. And it can be a fabulous month for just making a little extra money or acquiring new things that give you a lot of joy.
Yeah, Venus loves being in the second house, but Mars does not do so well there. So
That's
what a fun
true.
combination. Hey, Jamie here. Did you know we run live workshops monthly where you can get questions answered about your own chart? Join us for a live customized reading of your personal chart. This month's topics are success and your Saturn return, transiting nodes and your destiny, and harvesting opportunities during your Jupiter luck year. And these workshops are available exclusively for our beloved Patreon subscribers. You get the Nodes and Destiny workshop with your Tier 2 subscription, and you get all 3 workshops with your Tier 3 subscription. It's easy to sign up at the Patreon link in the description below. Now let's get back to the video. Well, I've got some moons to talk about, beginning with the full moon in Sagittarius, right here in your 6th house, opposite the sun in Gemini in your 12th. We're calling this moon Nerdy Adventures because it has a nerdy quality. That would be the sun in Gemini, very cerebral, facing off against that very adventurous and playful and fun-loving moon in Sagittarius. And so that's the adventuresome side. You might call it the jock versus the nerd, which we certainly did in the video that we made about it. And so the dilemma here is, do I play? Do I have adventures? Do I have fun? Or do I, think and plan and be in my head rather than taking action? And this moon falls in the 6th house, which is the arena of work. And so you might be noticing the influence of this moon at work. Maybe you yourself will have the urge to be more adventuresome, more playful, more of your big personality in the workplace. Or there may be somebody who pops up on your view screen at work who is embodying this moon for you and inviting you to be more playful and more like of a big personality. And yet you may feel like you want to balance this with some thinking over here with this sun in the 12th house, some thinking in solitude and to kind of, rather than the sort of spontaneity of that Sag moon, to engage in some of the more level-headed qualities of that sun in Gemini. So interesting dilemma, always calls for a balancing act, and that's just the nature of full moons. The next moon that I want to tell you about is the new moon in Gemini. It's happening on the 17th. And so here it is, and that's also in the 12th house. And the 12th house is a house of retreat. It's a house of dreams and imagining. It's a house of spirit, compassion, empathy, charity, giveaway. And it's not a house that's very, very good for seeing results or outer world activities or anything visible. It's really one of the water houses, so it's more of a house of the hidden. And this is a new moon, which is generally a time of new beginnings, of the planting of seeds. Now, seeds are planted in darkness, so we don't usually see results from them right away anyway. So that's kind of a fit for the 12th house anyway. This one we're calling New Ideas Dream Tested because there's a T-square to Neptune, the dreamer, and Ceres in Virgo, which would like to do some reality testing to those new ideas that the sun and the moon want to birth. So if you are in the market for a new idea, and this is where the advice is, if you're in the market for a new idea, gather all your thoughts, take them to a place of beautiful solitude and contemplation, perhaps in nature, maybe with the sound of water nearby, and let those ideas run around like a little batch of ping pong balls inside your head. Let them bounce off of each other. And then whatever the result is, what ideas are born from that, take them into your imagination, then take them into reality and see which ones are the most robust. It's a great, great moon for brainstorming and coming out with something that can be actualized, but in the future, not right away. And then the last thing I want to tell you about is the seasonal change. During this moon, the sun here with the moon is in late Gemini and going to finish out that 12th house transit. And this is really, this signifies the finishing up of your annual mop-up period, Cancer. And if you are a sun sign Cancer, then the 30 days before your birthday, and this is really true for all the signs, but for you, it's just going on right now. The 30 days before your birthday, your annual mop-up period is the time in which you feel the pressure to close out and complete the things of your previous year, the projects that you undertook, the themes that interested you. And at the same time, you're also feeling that the New Year's themes are beginning to emerge and they're starting to take over your brain. And so the last 30 days before your birthday do tend to be kind of muddy that way. It's swirls of many currents going on. And then when the sun comes into your sign, but most especially at your birthday itself, that's where your new year really begins, with a great deal of clarity and a great deal of, like, you know, all of its themes really surging up, and the old ones are just fading rather quickly at that point. Now, even if you're not a sun sign Cancer, but a rising sign Cancer instead, as long as the sun is traveling through your 12th house, you're going to feel that quality of muddiness and uncertainty and the need for closure. And as the sun crosses your ascendant or rising, that is going to bring you, you know, a sense of the new and the fresh, and the beginning of a whole new cycle. So as the sun moves into Cancer and moves into your first house, you're going to find yourself wanting to come out of that state of retreat and contemplation and into the world, and to be seen and to be visible and to be shiny and to be noticed. You might want to perform, express yourself, and it's really a great time for a party, obviously, like a birthday party, you know, where you can allow other people to pay attention to you. The sun brings the sunlight of attention wherever it goes. And when it enters into your first house, Cancer, even though you might not really be the attention-seeking kind, Cancer is definitely not known for that, it's still, isn't it nice to be noticed, and to be noticed around your birthday, and to let people appreciate you and your presence in their life? So this is a really great way to get the nourishing sunlight of other people's attention, and to let it shine on you, to let yourself be seen and let yourself be filled up, even puffed up by that wonderful, glorious sunlight. So enjoy, Cancer, for the whole month that the sun is passing through your sign.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you love Pandora Astrology's free and informative horoscopes, then please do hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share our horoscopes with your friends.
You can find out so much more about how this month's transits affect you in very personal timing in our monthly transits workshop for Tier 2 patrons on Patreon. And it's practically free at $15 a month. Find the link in the description below to sign up. Enjoy this beautiful springtime. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.